Welcome students of Form 3B to be exact. It's the second video about functions of a government, like you can see over there. Yes, functions of government we're going to talk about. This is the second video of a three-part series about functions that governments have. If you have the book, Social Studies, I had it somewhere, then you can take it in front of you and take paragraph 3.5 actually in front of you. So you can look at this paragraph to help it, to let it guide you, and also look to certain text we're going to read and certain things I'm going to mark while presenting it to you guys. And what is the learning outcome? Well, the learning outcome is at the left corner of your page, and you should be able to evaluate the functions of government. And like I said in video 1, you got to be able to look at it from different angles. You got to look at the pros, you got to look at the cons, you got to look at the advantages and the disadvantages. And I believe, but some of you might know this word, an advantage is a badaga and a disadvantage is a desbadaga. So the advantage and the disadvantage, you got to look at it from different angles and sides. And what do you have to look at from different angles and sides? Government. Yeah, you got to take it out, take all of its parts, yeah, dissect it, and look at the different angles of government. And one of the things that government does, it's pretty important, is upgrading a country's infrastructure. You might have seen the last 2 years, our Minister of Infrastructure, do you remember who he is? It's Mr. Cooper, and he is working very hard in improving our infrastructure. Yeah. So upgrading, improving of country's infrastructure is part of a government's responsibilities. Da un parti di responsabilidad nan pa el gobierno, pa nos gobierno. It's a part of the responsibility of government to create good roads, good airports, good schools, and so on. Infrastructure. That's one topic we're going to talk about. One angle from which we're going to look at the government. Infrastructure. Yes. And the infrastructure of a country includes roads, like you can see here. Do you recognize the road? It's a road from Berg Altena to close to our school, actually, close to Landhuis Hel. Yeah. To the left, you have the Santana, and it's the road towards the school coming from Berg Altena and coming from Punda. But also harbors. Yeah. Un porto, a port, also called, this is also the harbor that's very close by to the school where I'm teaching you. Very close by to Amordinita and Spu. This is our harbor, and all of the containers come in there that need to unload the containers and put them into the harbor. Entry airports, like you can see here on this picture. Do you recognize the airport? I hope so. It's Airport Hato. Besides that, we have industrial estates, so places of industry, schools like Amarionita and like Spu, like the Sky VSBO, or like the Parera VSBO, and hospitals, and also the systems that supply those things as fresh water, electricity and gas, or dispose of those things as sewage. Yeah, so they supply, suministra, those things as fresh water, and I've googled the word supply and it came to the word suministra. Suministra, actually. Yeah, they suministra fresh water, electricity and gas, and the government is also responsible fully or partly to supply us water, fresh water that's healthy, it won't kill us, electricity, and of course gas, or dispose, get rid of, other proper way of those things as sewage. Yes, so fresh water, electricity, and gas, or dispose of those things as sewage. Yes, and electricity, who supplies us, quem está suministrar-nos de eletricidade, tá e aqua electra. Yes, and when the electricity lines don't work anymore or there's been a storm, the Aqualectra, the government partly is responsible to repair our electricity cables or supply us with new ones. And governments are largely responsible, very important word, responsible for providing such infrastructure, since it's an important part of promoting the development of a country. So to develop the country, you need roads, harbors, and airports. To develop a country, you need fresh water, for instance. So these things are very important to have a certain development of our country that we have. To develop, development, and development está em papiamento desarrollo. Yeah? Nos que desarrolla. Yeah, nos que desarrollo, we want development, and to have development, we need, for instance, infrastructure. We need better fresh water, so it's good for us. We won't become sick or ill. We need sewage disposal. Yes, because if we don't dispose of the things we do in the toilet or throw in the toilet, we become sick and we cannot develop. Yeah, we don't have desarrollo if we don't take care of all of these things. Yes, if we don't have a good harbor, we cannot bring the proper food in, or we cannot have the proper laptops and computers, or the parts we need to repair our electricity cables. So all of these things contribute to desarrollo, to development. And those are very important. We all need these things to be able to develop the country, a país, de Curaçao. Yeah. Nós temos esta dias aqui para desarrollo de país de Curaçao. We continue. The finances, we talked about it a little. How do we get them to the government? People have to pay belasting. Yeah. En de meester paga belasting, or also called in papiamento impuesto. And managing finances, the raising and spending of government revenue, has to be carefully managed. Yeah. So the raising is aumento, and spending gastunan. You can see it here. The raising and spending gastunan, has to be carefully managed and monitored. So people pay the taxes and the paga belasting. Yes. And government has to spend the revenue it gets from taxes, from belasting, from impuesto. And it also has to be monitored. Monitored means supervise, oversee, check, control, observe. So it has to be checked if the government spends its money wisely. In Dutch we say het over de balk gooien. It shouldn't spend the money to things that are not valuable and are not efficient for the country. So the spending of money and also the raising of money, of the belasting, of impuesto, should be carefully managed and monitored. This is achieved through a government's fiscal policy. So they really have to have a plan, how we're going to spend the money, how we're going to do it efficiently, how we're going to make sure that where we spend the money, it also gets to the right places and it also achieves the right goals. El meester logra y metenan correcto. And the government will also have a monetary policy which seeks to control the supply of money within a country and to manage such things as inflation. So inflation means you have money, but tomorrow your money will be worth less. El valor de você está menos de ayer. The worth of money is less than yesterday. And why? Because all kinds of reasons. Because we have the world economy that influences Curaçao. We have the relationship with the dollar. We have the relationship with the Netherlands. We also have new money coming in. It has to be printed. And all those things influence el valor, the worth, de nós sem. I always confuse Sheng is Seng, but Isso aqui influencia o valor de nosso 100. These things influence the worth of our money. Yeah. So, for instance, a burger will be worth less tomorrow. Yeah, a burger will cost more tomorrow and even more next year because our money will be worth less. So you buy a pack of milk. Today it's 3 guilders. Next week it can be 3 guilders and 20 cents. And next year it can be 4 guilders. The inflation on our island is very high. Also because of all kinds of reasons. So the burger you buy today, in 10 years you won't be able to buy it with the same amount, quantidad de 100, with the same amount of money. Then a government is required to draw up a plan. Where are we going to spend our money on? And how much money do we have? Effectively manage the country's national debt. Yeah? And debt is something you owe a bank. Yeah? E din papimentu nos se llama debe nacional. So each country loans money from the World Bank, for instance, or other organizations. Curaçao borrowed money from the Netherlands, and they have to pay it back. To the Netherlands, Curaçao has to pay it back, but I believe without what do you call it again, rente, without extra payments. Yeah. Alali, if you can teach me what rente is again in English, I forgot. Yeah, but rente is the amount of money you have to extra pay back if you have a loan with a bank or another country, like Curaçao has a loan with the Netherlands. And also the last, ensure goals of fiscal sustainability. So you cannot spend everything this year. You also have to make a planning for what we're going to spend next year, what we're going to spend the year after that, and how we're going to make sure the next government also has money. So this government of MFK mainly right now also has to think about how the next government, of which they don't know if they're going to be a part of that, how are they going to manage their money? They cannot just spend all of the money and leave the next government with zero, which by the way could be also MFK again with another political party. So they also have to think about the finances in 5 years or the finances in 10 years. Ensure goals of fiscal sustainability are met. Key points. At the end of this 3.5, you find at the bottom, at the corner of your page over there. And the most important part of this part 2 was the responsibilities of government are to raise revenue and manage finances, provide social services, and 3, provide infrastructure. And also we take care, for instance, of our defense, which we do together with the European Netherlands, with the Kingdom of the Netherlands. So governments are also concerned about the defense of their country from external aggression. Maybe Venezuela will invade, supported by Russia, and about the country's internal security. If we have riots, we need special police, riot police, we need normal police to be able to contain that riot. For instance, during COVID, there was a small riot in Willemstad 2 or 3 years ago. No, actually 4 years ago that we had that riot in Willemstad because the people were not satisfied. So we need defense for externally and we need defense for internally. External, internal. And we may have its own armed forces. We have a militia, but we also work together with the defense force of the European Netherlands, also called the Kingdom of the Netherlands. So this is also a responsibility that the government of Curaçao has. Está una responsabilidad hopi importante y hopi grande. And here we see the connected goal, the connected key point, maintain international relations with other countries, ku otro país não, and defend the nation state. And the nation state, we are the nation state of Curaçao. So these things are connected that you see here. The things that you see here are connected. You see here and the things that you see here as connected. Yeah, this is an explanation actually of this. I hope you found this video very helpful, and we're talking about evaluating the functions of government. If you want to subscribe, you can definitely do that below, and the bell will be rung when I make a new video. If you want to go to the next video, that will be there, or possibly that will be actually there, and you can go to part 3 of this video about evaluating the functions of government. For now, I wish you a very good day.